Hey guys, welcome back to Deadlines and Detours. Fantastic one again this week with Morten Næss from Bluestone PIM and also emissions lead of the MACH Alliance. We went through everything, but actually it's kind of a two-part podcast, this one. We've got the business side of things and how Bluestone and how PIMs essentially work in the marketplace and a bit of a history on that, a bit about the MACH Alliance, and then a whole nother section on AI. I've learned some amazing things. It really is one to dig into. So I'll put the timestamps in. We've got so much content coming. We need to get it out. So take it for its entirety. It's a long one, but it's really fascinating. I think you're going to absolutely love it. Morten is just a wonderful person with some wonderful knowledge. I felt like the stupidest person in the room talking to him, and I've learned so much. The one thing to take away from this is prompt the prompt. Once you see this, it's a game changer. So yeah, get ready and enjoy.
Have you seen all the features that are out there now? Still, a thing that needs to be explored. They're treating it like just another hype. I've always been an AI nerd. I mean, we launched the first AI features in Bluestone PIM back in 2019. This whole thing blew up in 22. I was like, yeah, welcome to the party.
Welcome, Morten. How are you today?
Well, yeah.
Good. Is it sunny where you are today? I can't see in the background there.
No, it's raining. It's pouring down.
I think we've got the same weather climate today. Yeah. Maybe it's really not very nice here at all. It's cold. Autumn has fully hit, and it's just it really is that. So thank you for joining today. I believe you might have been one of the first people I reached out to, as yourself and Anne from Sanity were the first sort of two people when I started talking about starting this up. So I'm really glad we're only sort of 5 weeks in and I've managed to get you on already. So really, really exciting. I was just saying as well to you before we started recording that we hit 1,000 people today. So it's just fantastic. And I'm hoping it's not just bots pressing the same button. I hope it is actually real people. It does seem like they're real people. So I'm gonna take the win. So yeah, I thought we've got a few questions. We always run through a bit of a form, but it's Deadlines and Detours. So we go all over the place. But we'll ask a few of those sort of standard ones, and then we'll dig into the fun stuff, the AI and all of the cool stuff later. But for anyone who doesn't know you, let's start with a bit of a history lesson and how you got into tech and how you ended up where you are today.
Well, I'm Morten Næss. I'm the Chief Product and Innovation Officer at Bluestone. And how did I get here? That's a long story, but let's break it down a little bit. I guess I've always been a nerd, kid of the 80s and 90s, and I had my Commodore computer and Amiga,
Yes.
and was always fascinated by that. But when it came time for university, I actually started studying economics. But 2 years into that, I switched majors to IT. Yeah, back to the roots. So that's it's always been sort of here in me, the nerdy side of things. Yeah, so I guess that's where it all started. And then at university, of course, had some interesting topics that sort of where I was going afterwards. I guess I still remember the AI subjects I had back in university, and this is like more than 20 years ago.
So what were they saying then? Was it the same as what they're saying now, or was it?
The interesting thing is, it was 90% about machine learning, right?
Yeah.
It's all about, showing the example and then adding that to the base of what you know, and then, the whole machine learning thing. And then everything else we were talking about, I remember thinking about, wow, this sounds great. That has to be like 20 years away. And 20 years later, here we are.
It was. So you knew your craft then.
Well, that's the background. Always been a nerd.
Good. Also a nerd. I need to just dig into what Commodore did you have? Was it a C64?
Yeah, I had the 64 first, and then I upgraded to the Amiga 500.
I'm a nerd. I think that's obvious for anyone to know. And I watch a fair bit on YouTube. And Amiga, I don't know if you know, Commodore has just been rebought.
I know.
There's a guy.
Of course.
Did you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the guy, he's a British guy. He does loads of voiceovers for different things. I follow him. Do you know the guy? I can't think of his name now. He's called Retro
I've seen it on YouTube, but I can't remember the name of it.
But so they bought it and they're bringing it back. I don't know what they're going to do with it though, because I love the idea of brand, and I think I've bought far too many reproduction versions of Commodores and different things over the years. But I was actually a Spectrum, a ZX Spectrum guy. I don't know if you had the Spectrum where out with.
No, not really.
I think Commodore conquered the world, and I think the UK had the Spectrum and the kind of the Amstrad. But I always looked at the Commodore a little bit envious. Actually, it was a cooler thing.
This summer I just bought a Commodore T-shirt. I mean, that.
You should have worn that one today. I'll superimpose it later. I'll drop it in with AI. That's really good. That's really interesting about you, sort of how you get into it. I mean, I think we're all product of a certain sort of age. We won't talk about our age here, but I think we grew up in that time where it was just so exciting, wasn't it? It was the start of everything, and the younger people now, they don't have that. They're born into technology. Technology's there, whereas we didn't have it, and then it just hit at the age that we were kids. And as a kid, what's more exciting than a computer? I remember my dad coming home with one, putting it down, and it was, type in to sort of go around. I think it's called the Cove or something. You had to say go left, go right. To go from that to VR and AR and all these things that we're in now, in the big scheme of things, a relatively short time span is wild. So, but I'm going to go off topic there because I'm going to try and keep a little bit back on topic. And so that's a bit about you. Let's talk about sort of Bluestone and how it kind of got to where it is today, and a bit of understanding around Bluestone.
Yeah. So Bluestone was built on the shoulders of a company in Norway called WebOn, who they were founded back in '95. So that was, back in when we were in high school, I guess, at the very start of e-commerce, But I think around, 8 years ago, they saw what was happening. It is really hard to be a company making custom web shops, and being a small SI in the Nordics. So WebOn decided that they wanted to take everything they'd learned and focus it on one thing, and that was PIM. And then Bluestone PIM was created.
Okay. And was there a point where in sort of Bluestone you realized this project, this piece of work was the one that sort of cemented us as, we've made the right decision. This is it. Was there a certain project or piece of work that really was almost that moment where you go,
When have you made it? Yeah, I think you have several of these. They're incremental, and there's small things happening. I think you don't see the woods for the trees when you're in it. I had a moment like this earlier this year when I did Google Analytics took out a report on where in the world had Bluestone PIM been used this year, and it was more than 70 countries.
Wild.
It was
That's a great
all
feeling,
over
isn't
Africa and South America and India and China, and it's been used everywhere, basically. That was, I guess, a moment where you thought, holy crap, okay.
Yeah, we know
we're onto something.
Yeah, this is a thing. This is an actual thing at that stage.
I mean,
that's huge. I mean, I think any company that starts, you start in your sort of home country, and you always think, well, we'll do a country here, we'll do another one here, and it's probably America and Europe. But to hit that sort of number, and that doesn't happen through just targeted sales marketing. That happens because the product's good and because the product wants to be used. It can't be otherwise. Otherwise, people use the easy one that's just there on the shelf.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I hope that's.
We'll say that. Definitely.
Yeah, I'll say that.
Yeah, definitely. So we're in an industry where it's just full of acronyms, and I spend my whole time nodding along politely sometimes, thinking, no, that's really good. For anyone who doesn't know what a PIM is, what is a PIM? How would you describe that? Yeah.
No, I mean, it's in the name, product information management, right? So product information management. But I try to explain this to so many people, and the way I explain it to my mom is that we've all been on web shops buying stuff, right? So when you buy something, whatever it is, if it's your phone or it's a camera or whatever it is, there is information about that product. You have images, you have a description, there are some specifications, maybe a video, some spec sheets, blah, 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 different stuff. That is product information. And a product information management system, takes care, controls that information, and makes it available to the front ends or the channels where you want to sell it. Not only web front ends, but anywhere you need the truth about the product. Was that?
Yeah. No, I think
okay?
That's really interesting. So then let me be the stupid person and say, so if I was running a business and I had some products to sell, the information of all of those products and all the assets and all the metadata and all the keywords and the images, that's held within the PIM.
Yes.
And the PIM holds that like a dam of information.
Yeah, it also contains the dam.
Right.
Not all PIMs, but pretty much all enterprise PIMs also contain a dam. They have that feature in them to various degrees on how good and how capable these dams are. But they also hold some sort of a digital asset management system, which a dam is.
And then with my PIM, do I then so I have a website and I push the information through the website, or does a PIM have a front end on it?
So the PIM does not necessarily have a front end at all. The normal story, we do have some like a front end-ish thing, but it's not the main way a PIM is used. The simplest way to think of this is that, if you have a company who's using Shopify to sell their products and they become very successful and suddenly they have like 2 or 3 or 5,000 products. And within Shopify, you have like the product dimension where you can store the products and stuff like that, but you will grow out of that.
Yes.
So that's because suddenly you're like, yeah, what about, I'm a cross-sell, upsell. I have all these relations between products to take care of. I have bundles that are advanced. I want to sell this and that. We have advanced, all sorts of more advanced needs. And that's when you need an enterprise PIM in the background.
Yeah. I was going to say it takes you from smaller business to that enterprise level where you can.
I don't see a use. Exactly. I don't see a use for a PIM if you have 1,000 products. Then you should just use an Excel sheet.
Sure. Okay. Oh no, that's interesting. And then it's that sort of we've scaled. We want to go global. We want to have multiple different iterations of things, and then we put them through that.
Exactly.
Do you know what? That's really good. I think I've learned quite a bit there, actually, because I kind of knew what it was, but actually it helps me now describe it brilliantly. So for anyone out there who didn't, I asked a stupid question. And I was going to sort of follow it up with, when does a company realize that they want PIM? And I think you sort of touched on it there. And it's very much around, we've used Shopify. We've used a kind of a quick SaaS system that's great, and it's got us up to speed, but we need to go to that next stage, and we need to kind of keep doing it on. So then is PIMs, are PIMs then widely used across all different countries? Is it something that you see just in thing, or is it just business need? It's not sort of geographic located at all?
Well, we see a wide use of PIMs. I mean, our customers, do anything from clothes, a lot of clothes, to, accessories, or like even bikes now, or food, or we have clients who have their products on Mars and on the space station, very advanced products,
That's cool.
Mining equipment. I mean, it's everything.
So that's super cool. That is really cool.
It does not really stay in one vertical. It's any product. It makes products sellable. That's what you do. You gather all the information in one place and you make a product sellable. That's what a PIM does.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. I was talking to someone else a couple of weeks ago who works on, those sort of more sort of Shopify, smaller product sites. And that was really interesting hearing his side, and that quite a manual job to do all that. Actually, I was thinking of his story that he was saying now, and just all of that kind of manual effort that he has to put in. Whereas actually it's almost like you say, well, you need a PIM, but you're not big enough. It's a strange sort of area of how you could go into that. Would you say like sort of under 1,000 products would be sort of Excel spreadsheet, but would it still be wise for someone to Yeah, so if I was starting today and I thought, well, I'm going to grow, would I start with a PIM, or would you still say, look, just start small and wait till you get
I
there, or would
think,
it be advisable?
yeah, I
Yeah,
think you start small. I
yeah,
mean, this weekend I tried to set up a web shop, or I built a web shop for some friends who just have like they have a few products that they want to sell. I would not dream of setting up Bluestone PIM for that.
got you.
That is
Yeah,
like so
it's
overkill.
yeah,
It's not even, yeah.
and you're
That's
just going to make the whole situation
yeah,
overly complex, overly confusing for
yeah.
them,
It's
and
not
they'll
even close.
probably
But
yeah,
you have to also understand that the number of products is just one dimension of complexity. So if you have 1,000 products, you might even need a PIM for 1,000 products. If you have like very complex products, a product that has 3,000 attributes and a lot of different, very customizable, different bundles, different sizes and shapes of products. So it's more about the complexity also. Once you hit some sort of complexity level, that's when, a PIM is needed.
and then you get that tranquility of actually knowing that it's all managed nicely. You sort of said about how quickly Bluestone's gone from sort of its inception of the newer product to where it is now. How do you keep, when you're growing, you see in all these different countries, how do you keep that sort of that foundation and keep true to your roots where you're growing? How do you keep that within the business? What's the sort of culture like there at Bluestone?
Well, I think we like the employees still own 70-ish%. I'm not even sure right now, but the employees of Bluestone still own most of Bluestone. And I think that that's a key thing still, are, big enough to do stuff, but we're small enough to care and small enough to be nimble and
Yes.
move around quickly. And also it's a mindset thing. I don't know, but I think that, I don't know if it's a Nordic thing or a Norwegian thing, but we're also like very sort of flat, like when it comes to a structure, like the hierarchy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
no one is above anyone else, and everyone has, can come with a good idea, no matter who you are.
I think companies who run as flat as you can structure, that is always the best way, because you don't hire someone, you rarely hire someone to just do a job, do you? You hire someone to come in and make an impact and make a change. So if you're bringing those people in, then surely those people have those good ideas. So I think, yeah, that sort of flat structure. I think rarely hierarchies work in organizations. I guess some have to have it, maybe some sort of more government
Well, it
led
comes
ones
with
and things.
size,
But yeah.
once it comes with size, basically.
Yeah, I guess that's it. And it's really difficult, isn't it? Because as you grow and as you scale, it's hard, and it must be keep that focus always of who we are, where we came from, and what makes us unique,
Yeah.
and what stands us out against our competitors. Because I imagine you do your analysis on your competitors, and one of the things, I mean, I'm just making assumptions here, but one of the things I would imagine that you hold your pride in is that we're a bit different. We can be a bit more agile. We can change, and if a customer wants to work, whereas some of the bigger ones out there are probably more sort of prescriptive about how they work, and so it's really hard, isn't it, as you scale, to be able to keep to those roots. But yeah, seems
Yeah,
like
I still offer one-on-one, I'm in charge of the product,
yeah,
but I
yeah,
still offer one-on-one with our clients, talking about the roadmap, talking about inspiration for what they see coming, what they want, that kind of thing. I wanna keep the ear to the ground as long as possible.
yes, yeah, yeah. I think you have to. I think you have to. That's really interesting. I think it's sort of a good piece. You're more complex than that, because you're not just Bluestone either as well. You're well connected with the MACH Alliance, and again another acronym that we'll have to touch on, have to explain what MACH
Yeah.
actually is. But can you tell us a little bit about sort of the MACH Alliance and how that kind of integrates with kind of Bluestone, and sort of impact it has on the industry, and what you do there, really?
Well,
Lots of questions.
lots
All
of
of those questions, if you could just wrap that
well,
up.
well, that started in the
Yeah.
beginning where this started from us. I think this started for us in just a few months after the Mac Alliance was founded. We found some information online. I think it was our CEO who sent me, have a look at this. And we were, what was that, like 4.5, 5 years ago? We were a very small company, and we were basically, struggling with telling the story on how we are different. We came in to SIs and say that, look, we made this wonderful PIM, um, and it's all APIs, and it's all event driven, and it's all very, very cool, like technically. And they were like, yeah, I'm not impressed. Everyone has APIs. And I was like,
Okay.
"Yeah, but I have 700." Like,
Yeah, I've got the best
like,
APIs. Yeah.
yeah, mine smell better, Uh, so that was a very hard story to tell. And then we saw this information from the MACH Alliance, and we saw that, wow, there are, others that are telling the same story as us. This is, these this is
These are our
um,
people. Yeah.
these are our people. So I wrote the application for the MACH Alliance over Christmas, and did the interviews with Mac. We had back then like a 50% person working with Mac. That's all they
Oh,
had.
really?
Like, yeah,
So
part time.
how long ago is that? About 5 years ago, did you say?
Yeah, that was the Christmas of 2020. That's when we wrote the application. Anyways, we were accepted because we're like pure. We're like
Yeah.
100% Mac. That's
Yeah.
that's our thing. And again, Mac acronyms: microservices, API first, cloud native, and headless. That's what the Mac acronym stands for. Anyways, so what happened there was that I thought this was, finally we had my people, were there. So I was very excited about this because I didn't have anyone else to talk to about this, I felt at the time. So I got involved in what was called the Tech Council. And then at the first meetup, the global meetup we had, I was elected the head of the Tech Council. So I was in charge of that. That was pretty cool. And then sort of after that, Mac blew up. It's just
Yeah.
become this huge thing. AWS is, a member. Google Cloud is a member. Deloitte,
I mean,
Accenture,
that's
all these huge companies. Yeah, and now I think we're about at 120 companies.
well, I've seen it grow so much over the last just through LinkedIn, watching it grow over the last maybe 18 months. It's gone
Yeah,
from what was quite a quiet channel to actually just huge entity now with a large voice
yeah,
and a bit of a rebrand and stuff. Really made it refresh and just feel like the topic of the moment.
yeah. No, it definitely, and it's become this huge deal, the whole thing. And then eventually, personally, I've shifted over to a position where I'm the admissions lead. So basically, I'm like the bouncer of
I
the
was going to
middle.
say, now you've just opened yourself up there. Now
Yeah,
anyone's watching this going, right,
yeah. Well,
I know who
it's
to.
out there. People know it's fine. But yeah. So we have a set of rules and standards that we're very transparent about. It's you can go to the webpage and download the admissions playbook, which is what it's called. And if you check all the boxes, you can apply, and then you will be accepted if you check all the boxes. But there is like a thorough process that you have to go through, and it's not something that is done in a week or two. It
No.
takes a couple of months where we have like a very thorough process where we go through the applicants, because the stamp should mean something. That has always been the thought. It shouldn't be like just something that you
Yeah,
throw
you
out.
don't want it to just be the logo that you download and just stick in a corner somewhere. You want it to be held with pride and feel like it's a recognition. And I
Absolutely.
noticed you guys have done a lot of because I'm signed up to sort of like the newsletter and different things. You do some training for people to understand kind of what Mac is, and I
Yeah.
thought that was really good. I ran through that myself actually. I thought it was
Okay.
really well put together, and it was a really
There is also a certification now, the
yes, yeah.
certification process. So that's also something that one can do now.
And that's available to anyone who wants to sort of upskill on Mac and
Yeah,
sort of be able to talk about it in their workplace and things like
absolutely.
that, which I guess is good for them to upskill and then good for Mac to also have those things repeated into organizations. Exciting. It's very good. And then we talked about, say, you've got some big players there as well. What's the sort of, do you have to be a sort of company size or anything to be involved in that, or is that?
Well, that is has been the big thing for us. And I think that the MACH Alliance has, if if we're gonna write the Bluestone PIM book, once I'm old, sitting on the beach, I think that that has a big chapter there because it has leveled the playing field. We're a mosquito in this world, right? We're like in the commerce world, we're like super small, right? Um, and what the MACH Alliance has done is that it's leveled the playing field. It has
Yes.
made it possible for us to talk with clients and punch well above our weight. I mean, H&M is our largest client. Everything they do, all their products globally on all brands is Bluestone PIM.
Wow.
That would
I
not have
had no
happened.
idea.
Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So we're very proud about that, but I don't think it would have happened without sort of the whole Mac story and that stamp of approval and that sort of community around it. Yeah. So
Yeah. I had a friend that worked for H&M years ago. I mean, this is sort of years ago. It's probably not even factual now, but they did their onboarding with them, and they're one thing that they were super proud of is that they could see something on the catwalk, and they could take, because they were sort of replicating high fashion and stuff. They could take something that was on the catwalk and get it into people's hands in the shortest time. It was amazing that they had this whole team, this whole process that could go right. That's the fashions for the summer. I don't know if they still sort of do that, but I always found that sort of fascinating that
yeah,
they could take something and then just get it out so quickly, but in a really sort of, ethical and good
portable.
way that they did it. Yeah, it's really really cool. Yeah, that's huge. They're a huge company. Well done. That was a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you want, yeah, obviously, the UK, equivalent is Sainsbury's for us.
Yeah,
So everything that Sainsbury's does is through Bluestone PIM also. So
is that right? That's where I
yeah,
do my shopping. Look at us. We're
y
connected
there you go.
perfectly.
Yeah.
I'm a
So
Sainsbury's
the
boy.
product
Yeah.
information you get there is probably been in Bluestone PIM.
I
You
knew
know
it was always my favorite.
Yeah,
That's why I
there
knew
you
I
go.
liked it. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, so these are huge, aren't they? I didn't realize, well, my ignorance, I guess maybe, but I didn't realize they were quite so huge entities, because the amount of I just think of something like Sainsbury's, just the amount of stock and product that they must hold and keep in there must just be outrageous amount.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot, and they have, they have, 2 clothing, and they have Argos, and they have, groceries
Of
online, and they have
course.
all these different.
All of that comes under that, does it? That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah, same
Yeah.
umbrella. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because Argos on its own is, I mean, that was a British institution. That's a shop brand product of its own, and then their
Yeah,
sort of is it TUI range or whatever is it, their clothes range. That's
yeah,
also
2
huge. So
2 clothing, yeah,
you've got a supermarket, a clothing brand, and a electricals and homewares store all run. Yeah,
yeah.
huge.
So and that has been an interesting, we're bringing it back to the Mac or the, I guess, the technology behind Bluestone PIM, because initially we never thought it would be, a top enterprise software. We were thinking about, doing the typical SaaS scaling, you know, sell a lot cheap. But due to the Mac architecture and the pure microservices, in the cloud, horizontally scalable, suddenly we realized that we could pretty much take on anything, and that was sort of where we shine is, with complexity and with scale. So yeah, that has been
I guess that was
good.
going back to our kind of earlier question. That was the moment, then, really, wasn't it? When you pick up someone like H&M
Yeah,
or
I think.
Sainsbury's, that's when you
Yeah,
go,
HM was
this
first.
is, yeah,
I think, yeah. I remember that was, you had to pinch yourself once that
yeah.
thing was signed. But I mean, again, it was incremental because we've always said that the proof is in the pudding. So we do POCs pretty much all the time, and that's
Yeah,
what we
yeah.
did with H&M, and that's what we did with Sainsbury's. We proved our story. We said, look, here's our system. This is how it works. This is not so good. This is really good, being very open about it. And I think that that has resonated really well with our clients, that, that kind of openness and not, yeah, trying not to oversell also, just trying to be very transparent about what we have. Um,
Oh, and when you have a client, in a situation like that, do you find that people find you out, or is that sort of inbound sort of marketing? I guess it's different with the PIM, and I know less about how a PIM works, but some of the other conversations we've had, it's almost having, you have the board that say, you know, we need to move, we need to change something here. Then you normally have a champion in the business, whether that's someone that's in IT or brand or stuff, and then they go out and search for those sort of things. Or is that tend to be how people come across a solution like yourselves, or is it more kind of you then putting yourself out into the market and being almost selected as such? Or is it different?
Well, it's a combination of, it's multi-touch, but I think that that is how naive I've been over the years, because I always thought that you just make a great product and then everything would sort itself out because it's out there. That is just the nerd in me, but I've realized, over the past years, we built up a new marketing department, and they're now about 20 people just in marketing. And that thing has changed my view on what needs to be done to sell, a lot.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it was all about proving the story and stuff like that. But now it is very different. It feels a little bit different. People are coming to us suddenly.
I've seen a change as well. Say, I look around and I've seen a change in the last maybe 12 months. Your marketing has changed. But what's really nice about it. It's very friendly. It's really nice. It does feel very much like you guys. It's a really nice sort of tone in the marketing. It's joyful. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but it is. It's nice. It's a nice way. Now, I think you said about you've got the best product in the world, but how do you actually get that into people's hands? I think having that, I've worked on so many projects where you've had the best bit of software, but if it's not managed, if the implementation's not managed right, or if you haven't got the right people internally supporting it, getting the message out that and I can only imagine on a product. So I've worked on large products, but nothing like the size of something like Sainsbury's or something. And with so many people and so many facets in an organization, making sure that everyone knows how to use it. Do you have people internally that goes in and then works with the client, or do you then use more of that sort of the champion method? How do you make sure that when you put, Bluestone in, people internally use it, adopt it, and actually get the best out of it?
Well, that has been a huge weakness, I guess, a growing pain for us, taking proper care of that. But now we have a customer manager who takes care of that and really is super engaged and talks with the clients on a weekly basis to stay really on top of things. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that we are also selling mostly through SIs now, so through partners. So that has also changed, how we work a little bit, because an SI is already in with, like, it's usually they're in with the part or in with the client in a very different way, and they also have like people there, on a daily basis, that so they have the ear to the ground much more. So
And
it
that's it.
really depends on the client also.
And then and then you've got that sort of constant two-way communication. Because I think that's so important, because especially on a large project, I imagine it takes time, and over the year, and you've just got to make sure that everyone's engaged all the time. We have made it about 40 minutes and we haven't really talked about AI. So this is the time. We're going to move into the thing. So
let's talk about the fun stuff.
Let's talk about the fun stuff. So that was really, really interesting. I think for people who didn't know, I think there's a lot there for people to understand around what is a PIM. I think I've definitely learned something there. And I think sort of the MACH Alliance as well, and put all the links, relevance down. But everyone is talking about AI. Let's start with Bluestone and just are there things that you guys are looking at? Are you actively using AI? Is it something that sort of you put into the product already, or you're thinking about? And let's just start with Bluestone as the kind of touch point.
So, like I said initially, I've always been an AI nerd. I mean, we launched the first AI features in Bluestone PIM back in 2019. That was, that's 6 years ago. And that was.
Were you calling it AI then, or were you calling it something different? Because it feels like
Yeah,
the AI word is
yeah. I think people are getting things. Well, things are mixed up now. So
Mm,
you
mm.
have different parts of AI. Sorry, LLMs is what people are thinking of as AI now. But there is actually another huge sort of part of AI called machine learning, and it's just as much AI, and it's very important for getting us to where we are today. And there are other parts of AI also, but the two main ones I think are LLMs and machine learning. Yeah. So what we did then back when 19 was machine learning algorithms using AI to find out categorization and taxonomy. So that's where we started. So when people, for me, it's always been, when this whole thing blew up in 22, I was like, yeah, welcome to the party. I know this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, this is what we've been talking about. So we were very early into the AI game, and that is also recognized by Gartner. I'm very, very proud of that. They've, you know,
Really, that's one of the things that
set a
yeah.
quote there for us, like, some of the pioneers within AI and PIM.
Okay.
Um, so my point is that we've been doing this for a long time, and now we have all sorts of different AI features within the PIM. So the most obvious ones, which is what everyone has, is like AI enrichment, where you enrich products, AI translations, the linguist, which is what we call it, that takes care of language. But then we have something interesting called the analyst, which analyzes and improves data, and it's using both machine learning and LLMs, where it's
Okay.
actually using something called in-context learning. So we're basically sending in a set of perfect products, training the model on the fly, and then getting back information about that. That means that you can take poor data, put it into the analyst, and it will automatically find what's wrong and what's
Wow.
missing, and also
Wow.
add those things. So that's kind of magical, and a really strong feature. And then, of course, I have to mention the agent, which is the newest thing. Everyone is talking about agents now.
Yeah.
Everyone is misunderstanding what it is. Everyone is saying things are
This is
agents.
your
They're
moment.
not.
Explain it. Explain it to us. What is an agent? What's an agent?
It's so annoying for people who are actually doing the real stuff. But anyways, no. So I think that an agent is something that can actually perform actions in a software. What that is very simplified, but and I don't know if that's the best definition, but what I see a lot of is that people are manipulating data using AI. And that's simple because you just push it into an LLM and you get something back. It's translations. You know, I want this in English or this in Norwegian or something, blah, blah, blah. Very simple. But an agent is profoundly different in the fact that it can use the software. It can do stuff like, okay, I need to filter out what products they're talking about. Okay, it's this product that the person is talking about. What does he want to do with these products? Okay, he wants to run some sort of completeness requirements, check. Okay, it's doing that. It's doing stuff within the system. I think that's the simplest way of explaining it.
So is that what they have now in Chat GPT, where you can, I think do they call them agents? But you can almost create a project, and in that project, rather than saying, "Get me some information on Morten," you can say, "I want you to do some information, but I want you to look here. I want you to," and you're giving it lots of tasks to do in a certain order, and it goes off and does those tasks rather than just spit it out. Or is that not quite right? I'm not sure
Well,
if
absolutely. I
yeah,
think that
yeah.
the GPT agent is probably the easiest for people to understand. You have it if you have a Plus subscription. You have it under the plus sign.
I have that there. Yeah.
So I think that is the easiest way of looking at it. Yesterday night or our time, they came out with a whole new agent builder. I don't know if you saw that, but that's
No. So what's that? What's
they're
hot off the
taking on
press?
N8, and we're properly nerding AI now.
Yeah, this is good. No, I'm really good. This is brilliant because I'm going to go off as soon as we finish this. I'm going to be deep.
Yeah, yeah,
This is
yeah.
how I lose the rest of my day.
Yeah, this is how you lose your the rest of your day. That's true. No, I was I'm no, I was watching the announcements that OpenAI came out with yesterday, and they're building an agent builder where you can basically drag and drop and build a builder sort of, or an agent workflow, agentic workflow. It's kind of hard for people to understand what it makes an agent and what does not, and that's hence the confusion. Everyone is why everyone's saying that they have agents while they're basically just using basic AI features. It's kind of hard to distinguish, but I think that the easiest way for the audience or people to understand it is try it. Once you try, try the agent mode, try the new agent builder from GPT or Anthropic or whatever you're using, and then you'll sort of get an understanding for what it is.
Yeah, because it's not helpful for you as a company either when you're building agents and other people are marketing agents with the same name, and it's just a quick lookup as well. That's not helpful, is it?
We had a wonderful example of one of our competitors doing that earlier this week, where they announced new agents, and I was like,
"It's not an agent.
This is not an agent.
It's not. Okay. It's not an agent. You just want to scream, it's not an agent. But you sound like a madman." Yeah. So with we were talking about sort of AI, and you were saying about machine learning, different things. I remember Apple, big Apple fan, and watching them talk about machine learning. Like you go back to some of their sort of presentations a few years ago that they talked about, it was all machine learning this, machine learning that. You rarely hear machine learning talked about now, and it is just AI. Do you think that's just marketing speak that people have gone, let's latch on to the fact that everyone's excited about AI, rather than sort of educating people? Do you think that's actually helpful or actually, well, I think we've maybe stumbled on that it's not helpful because the agent conversation there, yeah.
Well, you have to realize that these are tools and you use different tools for different purposes. And everyone is talking about the newest tool because it's the coolest. And you're not talking about the tool that has been there for 20 years, but it still does, it does a good job. So I think that's the analogy here is that, it's still so much there, machine learning, but it's not talked about because it does not have the news value.
Not sexy in the
It's not
sort
as
of
sexy.
in the speak. No.
But yeah.
Do you ever see a world in which, as so go back to your product, where I could create product listings and product information for a product that I don't really know anything about yet? So let's say I've got a new battery pack, and before it gets out there and it hasn't been developed yet, that I'm able to use AI to generate and create that sort of content. Would that be something where you guys would want to go, or do you always need all of that information first to be manually entered?
I think we're already there.
Yeah, okay.
This is already happening. So there are different things, AI enrichment, AI translations, AI, analysis, filling in the blanks, blah, blah, blah. That is already happening. Personalization, that is happening. And then the next big thing is probably like personalization on the fly. Take this base, information about the product and then convert it to something that is personalized for you on the fly.
Yeah, I would imagine that's something, because you see, say, certainly on socials and stuff, don't you? Like I get advertised that all the time, and I'm thinking, I guess having a product that could say the person looking at this likes lifestyle, so we'll present that image and that information with more of a lifestyle twist. This person is more technical based, so we'll give them the product information. Is that where you sort of see that next sort of step going then?
I'm sure that in some way or form it's already here. But the interesting part is where does product information go from here? Because why don't you just have an agent scrape the web for the information that you need and then fill in the blanks for the rest? The problem with that is what I've tried to make a PIM using AI and tried to scrape the net and tried to do that because, trying to understand what we're up against. But the problem with that is that you don't have a verified source. So you will need that truth in the future. And that plays into what's coming now, the EU regulations with the digital product passport.
Yes.
So, that is a different podcast, but that thing is going to be a very big thing moving forward. The verified truth about the product. And
okay. So that's yeah. Is that to stop these kind of vaporware products just existing online, and I can create, I could spend the afternoon now, couldn't I? I could design a product, create a product that doesn't ever exist, and I could go and say, is it stopping that? Is that what that's there to do?
It's multiple things. It started out being traceability. It started out being, we want to understand where this product comes from and what it's made of, and where, a sustainability kind of perspective. But I think it will move into more and more things like, you're saying, where it needs to be sort of a verified truth and stuff like that. Because the problem with making AI product information on the fly now is that you suddenly end up with a lot of Timu stuff that, is
Well,
crap and doesn't exist.
Yeah, this is the thing. I don't really use TikTok. I've tried; it just doesn't work for me. But I know you can do a lot of shopping on there,
Yeah.
and it's just all junk, right? It's all just junk. Even if it even turns up, like, and I hear people just buying stuff, and I've even heard people in conversation say, "I bought that. I don't know if I'll get it or not." But they sort of bought it, and I just can't believe we live in a world now where people are happy to just chuck 20 quid, 30 quid, 50 quid on something that may or may not actually ever even arrive.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. I sort of lost my train of thought there. I sort of go and wind up in people wasting money on Temu. Where were we? So we've kind of talked much around that. What are the current buzzwords in the industry that are really just stressing you out at the moment? I think agent might be one of those. People misusing agent, but is there other things that you just see around all the time? You're thinking, why are people using all of these words all the time? Let's put a stop to them now. We'll write a list.
Well, I think that it's a natural thing. People want to find the next thing. What's this constant ongoing thing to find the next big thing? And I would actually like to call out, because now people are getting sick of AI, right? Everything is AI, everything is agents, everything is blah 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 blah, and they are missing the point, because AI is not like GDPR or Mac or something that will come and go like the next thing. This is like profoundly different. It's like the internet. That is the change AI is.
It's just
it's
just
insane,
is the internet,
right? So I think that actually AI might be underused or even though it's underhyped because people don't understand what it is, because they're treating it like just another hype. That was
thing, rather than it is the next thing. AI is like you say, it's the internet. There's not going to be very much left on the internet that isn't just managed and run by.
And not even on the internet. I think it's going to change everything, and especially in e-commerce, right? And I use this example a lot now, because I had an exact point in time where I realized that this is happening. And that was that my mom and dad in their early 70s told me this summer that they had gone for the GPT Plus subscription because they were running out of tokens.
Really?
And I'm like,
it's those changes, isn't it?
It's hell is going on.
It's when the likes of you and I, we're always going to be in it. I subscribe to everything. I'm in. As soon as I see it announced, I'm in. I get subscribed. It's when you hear that. It's when you hear your folks. It's when you hear those completely non-technical people saying, "Oh yeah, I use it all the time." Well, yeah, saying that they've used what are they using it for? Do you know?
Everything.
Just life.
I had my dad the other weekend. He was showing me something as really, old style Pokemon stamps.
Okay.
He has a stamp collection. He was chatting with GPT about, if you find anything interesting here, going through the stamps, and like, okay, here's an interesting one. And he was using GPT with live stream on to find expensive stamps in his collection.
That's similar sort of thing happening. My dad's quite old now. He's not particularly well, so he struggles with his. It's sort of Parkinson's, so he sort of struggles. He's a bit jittery with his phone. We were here, and I was talking to ChatGPT. I talk to ChatGPT all the time. I find myself talking to it more now than actually typing it in. It's almost my kind of like note-taking tool. And he was absolutely fascinated. First of all, it was a whole circle of events of who are you talking to, who's this
of course.
Southern Californian person that you're talking to that's sort of chatting with you, to actually now finds that that's the way he kind of uses the internet. That's the way he asks questions. That's the way he finds stuff out. Just press the chat button. It blows my mind to think that if I was 5 years ago and someone would have said to me, Matt, you're going to get your elderly father just using, AI. It's just going to be a thing that he just uses as a standard product. You couldn't believe it. So we're running so fast. I guess my thought around it is, there's a generation, I guess that guys that are in their sort of 30s now, they put their whole life on social media, didn't they? And then everyone learnt those lessons and people have sort of stepped back. I wonder whether there'll be a generation here that have given AI their whole life, and whether we'll learn lessons in the future, Terminator style. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I'm sure like this has to blow up in some way or form. I don't know which shape it's gonna take, but it has to. Something is gonna go bad, but I don't know. I just think that the way things are changing now, I'm like being responsible for a product, for a SaaS product. I'm thinking, what does a UI look like in 3 years? Because this is, we have our new MCP servers, and just yesterday night, GPT launched apps, so external apps. So that means that I can put my MCP, Bluestone PIM MCP server into my GPT, and now I can talk with my Bluestone, on the phone.
That's now, is it? I can play with that. So I'm gonna,
Well, that's not like it. This happened yesterday, so it's not up
Right,
and
okay.
running. But
That's
this is
wild.
This is happening, right? So that means that while I'm commuting to work in my car, I can just go, and that's where I chat with my,
Yeah. Same.
it's wonderful. And then I could basically, I got these new products in my email, find them in my email, upload to Bluestone PIM, run the analyst, and once the completeness score reaches 100%, publish to Shopify.
It's mad, isn't it? It's just wild. Like you're saying that, I talk to chat all the time now, and the cars. I think it's the new update for iPhone or whatever, and now I've got the chat GPT button, and I literally just touch that, and I just, get them ready for something like this and stuff. I sort of ask it a few questions and that's what. But you're saying that you've gone from that, which was last week, which is how I was using it, to now I can integrate a platform and start talking and actually asking it real questions on that.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be a few months or a year in the future, because we have to develop.
You need to make sure it's right and those things. But
Yeah. But this is happening. This is the direction we're seeing, and I don't even understand what kind of form this will take in the future. But
yeah,
you see the potential there, and it's all about simplicity. It's all about making it less complex to work with. I mean, we're working so hard to make the UI easy to work with, but still, if you have like H&M, you have 1 million products in 160 languages and contexts. You need to understand how to query to find your 17 products that you're going to work with in the right language. You need to sort of like, that is not easy until now, because you have the agent where you can just I need the this and that, and okay, filter on this, filter on that, and you have this natural language layer on top.
So would you see a practicality that I could be in a boardroom, and rather than me having to put my presentation together with all of my stats and stuff, that simply the boss says how many cans of beans have been sold in the southwest of England this, and I'm having that conversation with an agent verbally, and it pulls up all the stats, and gone are the days of lengthy reports and stuff. As long as I know what questions to ask, I just have a quick conversation in plain English.
Yeah, I mean, but this has been the direction. This is interesting. Now we're getting nerdy, but this is interesting because this has been the direction things have been going for, ever since we started making computers. Because in the beginning, you have ones and zeros, right? And then you had like machine code on top of that, and you had this what do you call it? The cards.
Yeah.
Ones and zeros. And then someone was like, okay, that is really stupid. So we need to make an abstraction layer on top. And that was like the first sequential programming language, you know? And then you went from that to more advanced languages. And then you had like object oriented languages, which is sort of an abstraction layer on top of that. And then you had like more abstraction. And now, and this has been going on for 50 years, 60 years, 70 years.
Mm.
But the latest abstraction layer is only, natural language. Because I'm sure that, you had some COBOL engineers trashing C when it came out. And it was like, yeah, you don't have the control that we have, and it's just really bad. And it's the same thing now with vibe coding and normal coding, because, people who are actually programming, they're saying, yeah, well, I don't have the control that, vibe
But
coding.
I think that is part of that, isn't it? I remember when Apple launched Swift, and everyone's laughing at it. Oh, what a stupid thing that it is. I don't know, but I would imagine it's massively adopted, and everyone uses that to just build apps and things now. That's just standard. But I think the first sort of like core, I don't want to say nerd because it always feels sort of somewhat derogatory, but that kind of thing goes, this is rubbish. You've lost all the and things like that.
It's like
but
that.
I guess, yeah.
So
Sorry.
what I'm saying is that in 3-4 years, like the way I've been following vibe coding very closely, because I used to code. I used to be a super nerd. I used to code, and then I started talking too much. And then in the past 15 years, I have not compiled code at all.
I was going to say, when was the last time you
I
ran
think
some
it was
code?
like back in 2013 or something, that something compiled that I made.
Do you miss it?
I kind of miss it, but the point is that I understand I understand the mechanics of how it works, and I understand what to ask for. So now the vibe coding is a thing, latched onto that from the very start, and I've followed that very closely. And the way that it has grown over the last year and a half since it first started is amazing. I mean, I had a project that I tested 10 months ago, and now I've done vibe coding now last month, and it's miles apart, right?
Really?
And that's what I'm saying, is that if you have you understand the mechanics, you understand how this works, in 2 years, you can do a lot, like most coding, just using natural language.
So I guess I was talking to someone yesterday that they're predominantly app developers, and we were sort of discussing the fundamentals of how you build a good product. Do you think we're going to be born into an age where, because I think we touched on that, we always talk about the kids know everything about tech, or what they actually know about tech is how to be a front end user, but rarely anyone knows what goes on in the background. Like you say, everyone knows all of this stuff about Facebook, YouTube, but they're just front end users. They know how to use their thumbs and navigate a system. And we're getting to a stage now where you can easily write code. I could go on to a thing. But when you don't have those fundamentals and those sort of core things, do you see there's going to be a gap in knowledge where people are just going to be saying, look, write me a PIM. Write me a PIM now. Write me a PIM and I'll go and sell it. But what happens when you need to then pick it back, and it's that, and that can be a real worry. And I imagine there's a few.
That is why I tried to make an AI PIM. So like this summer, I did the work. I tried to make an AI PIM to understand where this is going. And the problem is that you will run into, and that the kids will run into doing this, is that it does not scale. It does. It's very nice for making concepts and making plans and making stuff like that. If you want a PIM to have 1 million products in 160 languages, it's not even close. It's so far away.
It is that. It's amazing for prototyping. It's amazing to go, I've got a quick idea. This might be the next thing. So we're saying that nerds will continue to rule the world. That's what we're suggesting.
I mean, yeah, I think it's,
I hope so.
It's not as simple as we think. And I think the thing also is that now we're starting to understand the limitations of LLMs. In the last 2 years, I think people have had this magical expectations of LLMs that they will just improve into infinity. I mean, but I take the latest. There is one test that I always do. I take when a new LLM comes out, I ask it to draw an analog clock saying
Okay.
it is 3 o'clock. With so that's an exercise you can do, and also
Going
just
to.
the good old count the R's in strawberry or the B's in blueberry or that kind of thing, and you will very quickly understand the limitations. Because like this multi-billion-dollar beast that you're talking with cannot draw an analog clock. Can't do it yet.
That's strange. So I'll check that one. I've been playing around with the Sora 2,
Yep.
the new iteration.
Yeah.
Sora, is that? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
I scanned my face, did the whole thing. I stuck up a video on my YouTube channel just sort of playing with it. For something that I whacked together in a few minutes, I couldn't believe how good it's come. When about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, everyone was doing let's try and do a headshot for LinkedIn with AI, and it was awful. It looked nothing like me. The videos that it's creating of me now, still uncanny valley, but what it's able to do now is crazy. And then I used another product. I'm going to go into products in a minute because I'm going to get some tips from you. What was the other? I'm going to look at it here. Event Labs, and then that cloned my voice, and I put the two together. So I took my voice with Sora over the top.
11 Labs.
And I swear to you, if you didn't know me, if you weren't a friend of mine, you would just think that's just Matt talking.
Yeah.
For free. Well,
it's insane.
£5 subscription or something.
And
it's wild.
I just want to say also that was not what I was talking about. I was talking about text LLMs.
Sorry, yeah.
Testing, yeah. But Sora is a specialized tool, and so is 11 Labs for voice.
Yeah. Okay, so but you're talking about sort of.
I was talking about.
Yeah, I know. I think I diverged a little bit. Yeah.
LLMs, but but that's the point exactly, because the mainstream LLMs now also understand their limitations, and they will call tools that understand how to use this.
Yeah.
So that is where the next big leap will happen, because we're sort of hitting you're hitting sort of a curve here for LLMs to improve. They're not improving as rapidly as they were. But what will happen now is that they're calling tools in the background. They understand where they're weak, and then they're calling a specialized tool for doing that. So it will, to the untrained eye, it will appear like the graph is still going the same direction. But it's actually just diversifying and calling tools to achieve goals.
So help me understand then. If I have Chat GPT running my everyday today, and then I think, is Sora part of Chat GPT? Is it the same company?
It's the same company.
Yeah.
But it's
so why would they not have that just all in Chat GPT? Why would they break it out into separate? Just to understand, like, why would you not just go, here's our behemoth one tool, press go and do it? Why would you split it out?
Well, that is a good question, and this has been going in waves back and forth. We know that they've taken the image model into GPT, and with GPT-5, they that's one of the main things they did, was that instead of having all these different, half a year ago you had reasoning models and stuff like that.
Yes.
You don't have to think of that anymore. And the same thing with Sora, which is like an imaging, or Gemini's Nano Banana, which is a favorite of mine. That is also really good at generating images and stuff.
Don't know that one. That's it. You just give it.
Nano Banana is fun. Yeah, you should try it. It's amazing. But I think that you will get there. We will get there, because that is what is happening now. What was happening last night with GPT is that you can call external agents, or external apps is what they call it. So that means you can call Sora directly from your GPT, or you can call your mailbox, or you can call your Bluestone PIM or whatever directly from one interface.
So here's one. So I saw when they did the last, so I'm just using you as just educating me now at this stage. But I saw on the last Chat GPT-5, it allowed me to link my Gmail calendar XYZ into it. But I still feel it's quite limited. I find it's
Very
very
limited.
limited to what it does. But you just see that's phase one, and in
That
a
is
year's
phase one.
time,
It
yeah,
will just expand. And the reason why is actually in the background. I think it's calling MCP servers, and the MCP tools in the servers are very limited at this time. And that's
got you.
what we're doing. And that's the same thing we're doing, in Bluestone PIM. We only have like one tool so far, but we're adding tools, and that's what's happening now. And once AI understands this, that's when, the magic happens and things will explode, because AI will be able to draw on these tools everywhere for all your softwares. What I see in the future is that you will have your LLM of choice, if it's Anthropic or Gemini or GPT. And then you can add, just like you said, you can add the different, like for your workday, the different systems that you use, and you authenticate to the systems. And then suddenly the MCP tools or servers of these systems are available to your chat. So everything that is in your world is available as external tools to your chat. And that will be interesting,
I
because
mean, I would go into bed with that in a second. That's my problem. I'd be integrating everything. I'd be clicking
yeah,
accept. But
yeah,
it is and I think we would have had this conversation maybe 2 or 3 years ago. We would have said, oh yeah, in the future, this will happen. This could happen tomorrow. Everything's moving so fast now. It's almost like you say that, I didn't even realize there was an announcement last night. You probably get one in like 2 weeks, and they'll go, you know what, guys, we've just created this new thing, and they just roll it out. And those days of big product announcements in 2 years, they just sort of seem to have gone now. It's that
yeah,
iterative, just constant sort of moving
yeah.
forward with it.
It's just a new sprint for them.
Yeah, yeah, it really is, and it's actually being done how it is, and it's probably something that we should all look at when we run projects and we run things. It's just look at how it's being done on some of the biggest, companies in the world doing it. I wrote loads of notes down here. I'm going to ask you a few of them, because I was going to say one sort of tool that you can't live without, but I think I might ask you for a few, because you've just shouted out a few there. Is there a tool that you use every day that you couldn't live without now?
I mean, it's really boring, but it's just GPT plus. But I think people are not using it to its potential, or they're not getting, have you seen all the features that are out there now? Like I said, have you tried out, do you understand how the agent mode works? What about the study and learn feature? I just told my son about that, and he was like, it works so well for his physics test
See,
that he had the other week. The study and learn feature, there is so much there that you don't know about. So I think that even though it's boring, GPT is still, a thing
yeah.
that needs to be
And
explored.
out of all of the sort of big ones, Gemma, is that the one that because I hear different pockets go around, but for me, I didn't know whether I was just, one of the masses, but I find that ChatGPT is the one. It's the one that I feel I just go
But
back to every time.
I mean, for me, it feels a little bit different, but I'm not a normal person. I'm
Mm.
like very huge nerd, but I have all of them. I have Gemini, I have Anthropic, I even have DeepSeek, I have Grok. And for me, because I tried them all, they feel like different tools. Like, when you're gonna write something that is like, actually good, I tend to go to Anthropic, because I think that Claude and the Sonnet models are really good at just making those subtle, it feels better. I don't know what it is, but once you
Yeah,
start
it's
using it, it feels better. And then, also Anthropic is really good at coding. Yeah. But as a general all-in-one tool, I really like GPT. And then Gemini is really good with the big context windows. So if you have like a massive problem, I tend to use Gemini Pro models, especially for analysis, because they have a million token context window. But I'm not a normal person, but I need people to understand this, that it's not, it's because people are talking about AI like it's one tool. It's
yeah,
not.
they are. Yeah, yeah,
It's not either
absolutely.
you're using GPT or Gemini. It's not.
No, you've
That
got to
that
find
is
the right pocket.
it's an okay place to start. That's all I'm
But
saying.
I don't think the knowledge is out there for people to sort of find that as well. I guess ChatGPT is the one that just gets said on the news. It's just it's the brand. It's almost the brand name. I think people think ChatGPT is all AI. It's just that's what it is, isn't
I
it?
think
And
that people
yeah,
think that GPT is AI.
yeah, exactly. I think that's definitely. I have tried the others, and maybe I'm just fickle, but I've just found for me, for my day to days, I definitely always go back to GPT. It just seems right. But I will try those now because you've said it, and I, I'm not I'm not gonna not. And I've made so many notes in this conversation. So if you had to pick one, you would probably say GPT is the one that you
It's the
use for your day
all-around
to
tool
day.
for everything. But please
Yeah.
understand that it's more than the chat, and also learn how to ask questions, because that is very, very important. If you want a great answer, you have to ask a great question. You can't just say, give it a keyword and then expect, amazing.
So yeah, part your wisdom on the world here then. So if you were to, so let's have a think. If my problem was I've got an Excel spreadsheet with a load of data in it and I need to create a report, how would you prompt that in a way that would be useful rather than just saying maybe the top 10 numbers? I know it's a really odd, I mean, pick your own one. It was just me thinking off the top of my head, but how would you, how would you really put a prompt together to actually make it useful? How would you talk to a,
So one thing that I end up doing a lot is prompt for prompting. So I talk with the model about the fact that I want to create a question. So that is where you start. This is,
okay,
you
so
know,
I'm going to ask a question.
I need you to refine this prompt. This is my end goal, but I want a prompt that makes
So you're asking it to
the
enhance
prompt.
your prompt before you even give it the prompt.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
Because I want a great question. I don't want to so that is just realizing that is flick the switch for many. I
It's just
also,
flicked a switch for me now. That's all I'm thinking about.
yeah, and also I tend to also maybe use different models. I vibe coded a feature where I query 4 models at the same time with the same prompt, and then I
Okay.
have get all the feedback, and then it compiles it into one answer.
So when you say the 4 different models, so where you've got, say, chat 5, you're asking chat 4 and the other, is it those models that you're doing?
It's
Yeah.
so the ones I have by default is GPT, Gemini, Grok, and Deep,
So different, right. So different tools, right.
and also Mistral, the French one.
Yeah. I didn't even know that
And
existed.
no, you have to test Mistral. It's actually good. European, go Europe.
This is absolute gold.
So Mistral is interesting. And if you're testing out voice, Sesame voice AI, is insane. But anyways, I digress. The point was that I ask many models the same question, and the answer back can compile that.
So then once you
Yep.
get those answer back from, say, those 4, do you then ask one of them to almost compile, or will it compile at the same time?
Yeah, that my tool does that. It compiles it. But that is very nerdy. Please don't do that. But the point is that use AI to use AI. I guess that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think for anyone who's getting into this and using it, I think that tip there to say, prompt the prompt and actually get it to get your question right before you actually ask the question.
Yeah, that
I will do that. That will be the next, I mean, within minutes, I'll pick it up and that's what I will do because it makes perfect sense, isn't it? It's like structure this in the way that you'll understand it in the best way to give me the best answer.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now you're getting it. Now
Yeah.
that is now this is the shift that I'm talking about. It's not always about the tool, it's also how you use it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is true. It is true because I follow a lot of AI nerds on social that are much better than me, and I pick up these things, and it's just changed the way I work. It's not Google, people are treating AI as Google.
Mm, yeah.
So Yeah, it's not searching for something. It's so just learn how to use it. I think is the biggest gain you can get from yeah.
Yeah,
It's not even about just finding new tools all the time. It's just learning to use the tools that you have. It's boring, but
properly. Yeah.
it's boring.
I'm surprised there isn't a better onboarding for some of these tools. I'm
Yeah,
surprised that actually chat or whoever, I just say that one because it's like I say, it's almost the brand, isn't it? Don't almost teach you how to use them when you can't, especially now when they're almost consumer product. Well, they are consumer products. Anyone can just go on for free, log in and use it. There isn't really an onboarding, isn't it? You're hit with this screen and you just start typing. And I'm surprised that they haven't. Oh, maybe that's next. Maybe that's the next thing that they'll start to do. Maybe they'll start to push some questions back. I'm absolutely fascinated in this, and I wish we had more time. And I wish I would have just forgotten all the stuff about your company and your history, and we had just gone straight talking into great things
I
we
think
could
we have
have.
two podcasts here.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to come. I would love to come back. I would love to ask you some more things. I think that some of the things that you've said here are not just fascinating, but actually just so practical and useful for people who just don't do it. And the whole point when I started this podcast out originally was to sort of, break down, make things a lot more simple, drop the acronyms, let's just talk about things. And some of the stuff that we've gone through here is outstanding. I would definitely love to sort of get you back. So we've touched on that. Is with all of that said, with the fact that we're in this, and you especially living in this sort of digital dimension where everything, is there a product or a tool or a thing that is analog that just keeps you out? Do you still have a notebook on your desk, or are you completely digital at this stage?
You know what? I'm actually all in on the digital. I don't even have a piece of paper. Well, I have a piece of paper here on my desk, but it's not for. I don't have a pen here, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
But looking behind you, you've got your instruments, and I guess that's your analog sort of touch
Those
into life.
are keeping me, my babies. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
keeping me. I guess grounded. Yeah, that is a very analog thing. But even that, I mean, that is also changing. These are two amps. I have four of them here. Have not turned them on in half a year because I have these wonderful plugins on my computer. So
So you
that
just plug the
also,
guitar straight into the
yeah,
computer
it's
now.
kind of sad.
And I can imagine, yeah, I was going to sort of say, yeah, so you can plug that in now. And I want, is there anything you can use? I'm sure there is. I'm asking a question. I already know the answer. Is there something that you can use with these tools, these AI tools now to plug in and almost enhance your music? I guess. Of course there is. That's the music industry in a heartbeat, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go down that road and try stuff, suno.com, suno.com is an insane tool that I'm using a lot for making music, and it has just prompt a song, and it will create it for you. So it's
How do
everything
you
has
feel
AI
about
in
that?
it.
Being a musician, being someone who cares about music, and does it make you sort of shudder that someone can write a song now and it's not real? Is it real or is it not real? Because if you put the prompt together, it came from something, it came from an entity, didn't it? But
I
yeah,
mean, now we're into copyright and stuff like that.
yeah,
Um, I'm reading an AI book now called The Empire of AI, and it's not a good look for AI.
oh yeah, really,
If you please read that book and you'll understand it has brought out the worst in capitalism over the world, and they have walked over bodies to get to where we are. So it's not
really, yeah.
all fun and games, and I think it's worth for people to know and understand that this what this has how we've gotten to this place. And also, with uh, the orange guy in office over there, all rules and regulations are out the window, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anything holding anything back is out the window, and that's worrying. I mean, But I mean, that is a podcast in itself, but it has like a serious note to it.
I think we've got a series of podcasts lined up here. I think
Yeah.
we spin one off here, but yeah, definitely. You talk about being a nerd. You sort of joke about it all the time, but I was a bit odd as a child, and I guess a nerd, and really into that. And when I was younger, I sort of pretended I wasn't, and then I sort of like went heavily into it, and I'm just full geek now. And once I decided to be that person, I definitely think. My question to you is, what's the best bit of advice you've ever ignored?
That was a good question. What is the best piece of advice I've ignored? I'll tell you one thing that comes to mind. It is not an advice, but at work we were talking about Bitcoin, and this was this is 20 years ago. And I was like, okay, I'm a nerd. This is fantastic. So I set up a server, and because a guy told me, that was the advice to do that, and I set up the server. I remember my oldest, he was just in the other room, and I was like,
Yeah.
crap, I don't have to. Okay, go to him.
No.
And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just too tired. Let's just scrap this. I can't. I can't do it. But I was this close to mining Bitcoin so early.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was yeah. Well, it is what it is. But
it'll never take off. Decentralized cryptocurrency. I mean, I think, yeah. No. Well, no, don't worry about that one. That's one of those.
I think there are worse things in life. That you probably like. That was it's just money. So who cares?
Yeah. Well, I remember 2004 thinking. I think it was 2004, just before Steve Jobs came back and reinvented Apple, or it was just on the cusp, and the Apple shares were through the floor, and you could pick them up for $2 a penny.
Yeah.
And I had a bit of cash. I thought I'll buy those, and I didn't. And I bought. Oh God, it makes me sad to even think. I bought British Telecom shares because they were the safe choice.
Yeah, the safe choice.
And talking about advice that I should always ignore. That I think there are moments in my life where I've taken the safe idea, and those ideas have never been the right decision. The brave and the courageous ones are always the ones that I've enjoyed more. Whether they've gone well or gone bad, they're the ones that I've got a story to tell. So I didn't buy those, and now I'm not a millionaire. So that sucks.
Well, at least you're doing something you love, right? So that's...
And I do, and I absolutely love this. And having these conversations today, I mean, I'm literally getting to I've got 2 questions left, and I don't want you to go, but I think I'm going to try and get you back to do something else. Coffee or tea or something else? What do you have to drink?
Just plain black. Straight
plain black coffee.
Yeah.
Are you a coffee snob? I can't go to anyone's house where they have instant. I get really upset about it. I say, no, I'd rather have, and I sound like...
I have a machine who...
Yeah.
Well, I don't do it manually, but it grinds and...
Yeah, bean to cup. Bean to cup.
I put the beads in on the top and everything. Yeah, but it's not instant, but it's convenient.
It is convenient, but I don't know what yours is like. Mine's incredibly finicky and messy, and I'm always having to clean it, and it's always like beeping at me and everything. So it's become its own sort of thing. Deadline or Detour? Which one has given you the most?
Well, yeah, I think that's the topic of this is the wrap up. This has been one big detour, hasn't it?
It has. Yeah, I love it.
Detours all the way.
Team Detour.
That's where the magic happens. Sorry, but that's where the magic happens.
Yeah. If you weren't in tech and this wasn't your career, I think I might know, looking at your background, but what would you be doing if you could snap your fingers and it wasn't?
I've been too close to this as a career. Not for me personally, but I've seen it. So what it takes to be a musician. I think I would be an architect, actually.
Okay. Didn't expect that one. Curveball right at the end.
No. I don't know. That's always been like, it's maybe... I think it is the I do a lot of photography and stuff like that. I have this, I guess, a little bit of artistic gene.
There's a whole conversation I want to talk to you about photography. I'm really into my cameras and stuff. What camera do you have?
Well, this is the Sony that we're on there, and for still it's Fuji.
Yes. So I've just bought the Fuji X, was it 106?
Yeah.
So I absolutely adore it. And then normally I would film on, but now we're really, is an old Olympus, nice little Olympus one. And that was really great. And they went bankrupt or something, I think. I don't think they make those anymore. It's a real shame. It's a fantastic. There's another podcast. We've got a whole series. We've got our where do we even start?
Yeah.
I've absolutely loved this chat today. I've learned so much, and
Me too.
it's just been absolutely fantastic. And I would genuinely, I think we should put our heads together, and I can be the fool, and you can be the all-knowing, and we can go through and actually ask some real questions about AI and actually dig into it. I think it'd be a fascinating thing. So I'd love to get you back on and do that.
Let's do that.
Yeah. But look, thank you so much for today. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for all your time.
Thanks, Matt.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Right. Well, I'll just stop that now and I'll cut that out.